Welcome to the listening practice test. The test consists of 4 sections, each with 10 questions. You will hear each section only once. Answer the questions as you listen. You will have time to read the instructions and questions before each section begins. Please listen carefully. Now turn to section 1. You will hear a conversation between 2 people talking about a university club inquiry. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, University Welcome Desk. How can I help you?
Oh, good morning. I'm a new student here, and I was hoping to get some information about joining one of the university clubs.
Certainly. We have a wide range of clubs. Do you have any particular interests?
Well, I'm quite keen on photography. Maybe something active, like a sports club?
Okay, we definitely have a very popular photography club. Let's start with that. To give you the most accurate information, could I take a few details from you first?
Yes, of course.
Great. Can I have your full name, please?
It's Sarah Chen.
Is that Chen?
Yes, that's right.
And your student ID number?
Let me just find it. Here it is. It's STU903225.
STU903225. Got it. And a contact phone number, Sarah?
My mobile is 07900 418.
07700-900-418. Perfect. Okay, so, the photography club. They meet on Tuesday evenings.
Tuesday evenings. And what time do they usually start?
They start at 6:30 p.m. and usually finish around 8:30 p.m.
6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And where do they meet?
They have a dedicated room in the arts building. It's room G52. That's G for golf, 52. It's on the ground floor, so easy to find.
Room G52 in the arts building. Okay. Is there a membership fee?
Yes, there is. £15 for the whole academic year. That helps cover the cost of materials and occasionally guest speakers.
£15. That sounds very reasonable. And who's the main contact for the club, if I wanted to ask more specific questions?
The club coordinator is David Miller. I can give you his email address.
Great, please.
It's D. Miller. That's MILLER@unimail.ac.uk.
Okay. d.miller@unimail.ac.uk. Got it.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
Now, you also mentioned an interest in sports clubs?
Yes, something not too competitive, maybe. I used to play badminton a bit.
We do have a badminton club. They're quite a social group. They have sessions for different levels.
Oh, that sounds good. When do they play?
They have a few slots. Beginners and social play session is on Friday afternoons.
Friday afternoons? What time would that be?
That runs from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m.
And where is that held?
That's in the University Sports Hall, which is just behind the main library.
The sports hall, right. Is there a separate fee?
For the badminton club, it's slightly different. You can pay per session, which is £3, or get a term pass for £25.
£25 for the term. Okay. And is there anything I need to bring, like my own racket?
They do have some rackets for beginners to borrow, but they recommend bringing your own if you have one. You'll definitely need appropriate footwear, trainers, you know.
Yes, of course. Trainers. And how do I sign up for that, or find out more?
The best way is to go along to one of their sessions. Or you can visit the Student Union building. They have a societies fair coming up next week, actually. All the clubs will have it's on Wednesday, in the main atrium.
The main atrium. Great. That sounds like a good way to see everything. Thank you so much, you've been very helpful.
You're very welcome, Sarah. I hope you find some clubs you enjoy.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Now turn to section 2. You will hear a monologue about Willow Creek Community Arts Center. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Willow Creek Community Arts Center. My name is Emma, and I'm the center coordinator. I'm delighted to show you around today and tell you a little bit about what we offer here. We're currently standing in the entrance foyer. As you can see, straight ahead of you, is our largest space, the main exhibition hall. This is where we host our major art shows and larger community events. It's a wonderfully versatile space. Now, if you look to your immediate right from where we're standing in the foyer, you'll see our little gift shop. It's small, but it's packed with unique items, artists and craftspeople, perfect for a special present. Moving on, if we were to go through the main exhibition hall and take the door on the far left wall, that would lead us into Workshop 1. This is primarily our dedicated space for pottery and ceramics. It's got all the kilns and wheels you could need. Adjacent to Workshop, accessible through a connecting door or directly from the back of the main exhibition hall, is Workshop 2. This room is set up for textiles and printmaking. We have large tables for fabric work and, of course, printing presses. Now, let's imagine we're back in the main exhibition hall. If you take the exit on that corridor leads directly to two important facilities. The first door on your left in that corridor is the center office. That's where myself and the admin team are based, so if you have any detailed inquiries after today, that's the place to come. Carry on past the office, and at the very end of that same corridor, the cafe. It's a great spot to relax with a coffee and a slice of homemade cake, and it has a wonderful view out onto the community garden. All our food is locally sourced.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20.
So, that's a quick tour. Just a few other things to mention. The main exhibition hall currently features an exhibition by local photographers. This changes every 6 weeks, so there's always something new. Our workshops, like pottery and textiles, are very popular, and you generally need to book in advance, especially weekend sessions. The center is open 6 days a week, from Tuesday to Sunday, but it's closed on Mondays. Finally, we run special taster sessions for children during the school holidays, which are a great way to introduce them to different art forms. We hope you'll become regular.
Now turn to section 3. You will hear a conversation between 2 or 3 people discussing a presentation on urban green spaces. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
So, Chloe, Mark, thanks for coming in. We're here to discuss the progress on your joint presentation about the benefits of urban green spaces. How's it all coming along?
Reasonably well, Dr. Evans. We've done a fair bit of initial reading and have a basic outline. But we're at the stage where we need to refine our focus and decide on the specific arguments we want to highlight.
Yes, the topic is so broad, isn't it? We found information on everything from biodiversity to mental health to economic impacts. Our main challenge at the moment is probably narrowing it down so we don't try to cover too much in the 15 minutes we have.
A common issue. Before we dive into the specific structure, what are your general thoughts on sources and presentation style? Chloe, you mentioned sources.
Yes, we've been using the university library database extensively for academic journals. But I was wondering about incorporating some case studies from local council reports or respected environmental charities. They often have very specific, practical examples.
That can be very effective, provided the sources are credible. Local council reports, for instance, are usually well researched. Just ensure you critically evaluate them. Mark, any thoughts on the visual aids for the presentation?
We definitely want to use some. I think impactful photographs of contrasting urban environments, some with good green spaces, some without, would be very effective. And maybe a simple infographic to show the range of benefits. We want to avoid too much text on slides.
Good choice. And Chloe, in terms of delivering the presentation itself, have you thought about how you'll divide the sections to ensure a smooth flow between you two?
We haven't finalized that specific division yet, but we will aim for a fairly even split of talking time. We also want to ensure smooth transitions. Perhaps we could each introduce the next person's section briefly. That might help link our parts together.
That can work well. One general piece of advice I'd give for the actual delivery, to both of you, is to maintain good eye contact with the entire audience, not just me. And, of course, speak clearly and at a measured pace. Engagement is key, right? So with those general points covered, let's talk about the proposed structure of your presentation. What key areas are you planning to cover? Chloe, how are you thinking of starting?
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25. Now, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
Well, for the introduction, we want to briefly outline the scope of urban green spaces and then immediately present the strong link to psychological benefits, how access to parks can reduce stress and improve mood. That seems like a strong opening.
Then, we thought about moving on to the physical health advantages. Things like encouraging exercise, reducing air pollution locally. That seems like a logical next step after the psychological side.
Good. And the environmental benefits more broadly. That's a big part of green spaces.
Yes, that's our next proposed section, which we're calling ecological impact. This would cover things like supporting local wildlife, the role of plants in carbon capture, and how green spaces can help manage stormwater runoff. Mark found some good material on biodiversity in city parks for this.
After that, we plan to cover the social and community aspects. This would be about how parks provide essential spaces for community events, encourage social interaction, and there's even evidence they can reduce crime rates. I was also thinking this section could briefly touch on how green spaces can increase local property values, as a sort of socio-economic point.
That's an interesting angle, the property values. Just ensure it complements, rather than dominates, the social benefits. Now, it's important to present a balanced view. Have you considered any challenges or counterarguments?
Yes, that's our next proposed section. We're calling it ecological impact. This would cover things like supporting local wildlife, a bit on carbon capture, and how green spaces can help manage stormwater runoff. Mark found some good material on biodiversity in city parks.
Then we thought we'd need a section on the social and community aspects. This would be about how parks provide spaces for community events, social interaction, and can even reduce crime rates in some documented cases. I was thinking this section could also touch on how green spaces can increase local property values, sort of a socio-economic point.
That's an interesting angle, the property values. Be careful not to make that the dominant point of the social benefits, but certainly worth mentioning. And what about challenges or counterarguments?
We thought a section on implementation challenges would be important. For example, discussing the high cost of acquiring land in dense urban areas, the ongoing expense of maintenance, and the crucial issue of ensuring equitable access for all city residents, not just those in wealthier neighborhoods. We don't want to sound purely idealistic. Acknowledging difficulties adds credibility.
I absolutely agree. Acknowledging the complexities is vital. So, how do you plan to wrap it all up?
Our final section will be the conclusion and recommendations, Q30. This would summarize the main benefits we've discussed and then perhaps offer some forward-looking thoughts. We might suggest innovative ways urban planners can incorporate more green spaces, especially where land is scarce, like thinking about green roofs or vertical gardens.
That sounds like a very solid and well thought out structure. You've clearly put a lot of work into this. Any other questions for now?
Not for me, Dr. Evans. This has been very helpful.
No, thank you. It's given us a clearer path forward.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing the presentation.
Now turn to section 4. You will hear a lecture on the science of geothermal energy. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. In today's lecture, we're going to delve into the fascinating world of geothermal energy. Now, quite simply, geothermal means Earth's heat. It's a renewable energy source that harnesses the thermal energy generated and stored within the Earth. This heat originates from two main sources: the original formation of the planet and the radioactive decay of minerals. Unlike solar or wind energy, which are dependent on weather conditions, geothermal energy is consistently available. The Earth's core remains incredibly hot, around 5,200 degrees Celsius, which is comparable to the surface of the Sun. This internal heat naturally flows outwards towards the surface. There are primarily three types of geothermal power plants used to generate electricity. The first, and oldest, type is the dry steam power plant. These plants draw steam directly from underground geothermal reservoirs and use it to turn turbines. This method is only viable where naturally occurring, high-temperature steam is accessible close to the surface, which is quite rare. The second type is the flash steam power plant. These are more common. They tap into underground reservoirs of hot water with temperatures over 182 degrees Celsius. As this superheated water is pumped to the surface, the pressure is suddenly reduced, causing some of it to rapidly flash into steam. This steam, like in dry steam plants, then drives a turbine. The remaining hot water is often injected back into the reservoir to be reheated. The third, and increasingly significant type, is the binary cycle power plant. These plants can operate with lower temperature geothermal water, say between 107 and 182 degrees Celsius. Here, the hot geothermal water doesn't directly turn the turbine. Instead, it passes through a heat exchanger, which is a device designed for efficient heat transfer from one medium to another. The geothermal water heats a secondary fluid, a binary fluid, which has a much lower boiling point than water, such as isobutane or isopentane. This secondary fluid vaporizes and its vapor drives the turbine. An advantage here is that almost nothing is emitted to the atmosphere, as the geothermal water and the binary fluid are kept in separate closed loops. Beyond electricity generation, geothermal energy has direct use applications. For millennia, people have used geothermal hot springs for bathing and for heating. Today, direct use includes heating buildings through district heating systems, warming greenhouses for agriculture, and even for industrial processes like drying food products or pasteurizing milk. Geothermal heat pumps are also a very efficient way to heat and cool individual homes and buildings. These systems use the stable temperature of the ground just a few meters below the surface, which remains relatively constant throughout the year, rather than drilling deep to high-temperature reservoirs. Now, while geothermal energy offers many benefits, such as its reliability and low greenhouse gas emissions compared to fossil fuels, there are also some challenges. The initial exploration and drilling for suitable geothermal reservoirs can be very expensive and requires sophisticated geological surveys. Some geothermal sites can also release small amounts of greenhouse gases, like hydrogen sulfide, that are trapped within the earth, though these are generally much lower than those from fossil fuel plants and can often be mitigated with modern technology. Another concern is the potential for induced seismicity or minor earth tremors in some enhanced geothermal systems. These systems involve fracturing hot dry rock deep underground and injecting water to create an artificial reservoir. However, this risk is generally considered low and manageable with careful site selection and monitoring. Furthermore, while the resource is vast, the most easily accessible high-temperature geothermal sites are often located in specific geological regions, often near tectonic plate boundaries, like the Ring of Fire in the Pacific. This limits widespread, large-scale power generation to these areas, although lower temperature resources for direct use and heat pumps are much more broadly distributed. Despite these challenges, the potential of geothermal energy is immense. Ongoing research is focused on improving drilling technologies, developing enhanced geothermal systems for a wider range of locations, and reducing costs. It's certainly a key player in our future sustainable energy mix, offering a consistent and clean source of power. Thank you.
That is the end of the listening test.
Great job finishing this listening practice test. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like the video and comment your score below. And to help you review, there's a free downloadable worksheet linked in the description. Want to understand the exam better? Watch our quick explanation videos about the IELTS test format and how the listening section works. You'll find the links in the description. Ready to go further in your journey? Visit our website, SparkskyTech.com, to access the complete preparation package. It includes full practice for listening, reading, writing, and speaking. It's all digital, downloadable, and ready to use. The link is in the description below. And coming soon, reading practice. We'll break down the reading section and give you another full test experience. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it.